People will recognize something like, oh, my cousin had those Winnie the Pooh bed sheets, or my grandpa had that Steelers blanket on his couch. And then they like start to see, well, oh wait, everything here has been turned into something else. And it unlocks, like, I love visually seeing their eyes as something breaks in their brain, kind of. And they're
Totally.
like, what else can I do that with? Like, how else can I see everything around me in a different mindset? It gives me so much joy. I'm just like, yes, now take that, run.
Keep
keep,
going. Yeah.
keep going.
Don't
Yeah, like
stop.
keep looking at the world upside down.
How to do impossible things. How to do impossible things. What does ominous really mean? Where to go, where to prop, woken up from the dream.
Okay, welcome to this episode of Currency. Today we're talking to Haley Byrd-Locey, the founder of Fashion Rework. Thanks for joining us, Haley. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
We're chatting today because you're joining us at the Trashy Craft Market at the Fiber and Fabric Craft Festival. Really excited to have you come all the way from Michigan to join us here in Chicago. So I'll start letting you have a little space to talk about yourself, your business, how you got started, and what you're excited for about the market.
Yes, thank you. My name is Haley Byrd-Locey, and I'm the founder of Fashion Rework. And how I got my start is I've always been into vintage and thrifting, and have been working in the fashion industry for quite a bit of time. My vintage business, after I was done working in wardrobe in the movie industry, I kind of went back into that again, and I started collecting a lot of materials as I would go to estate sales and start kind of creating this huge pile and collection of materials that I knew I needed to, get my hands on and to upcycle in a meaningful way. So that is what my brand is now. I still do sell vintage on the side, but it's just really not as important to me. I love it for inspiration, but I'm really 100% dedicated to utilize post-consumer materials and showing people the possibility of what they can do if they look, at something in a little bit more of a creative mindset. So I would say that my materials that I work with primarily are tapestry blankets, quilts, but I also work with bed sheets. I'm wearing one right now. I'm also challenging myself to utilize things I see a lot of in the thrift stores. So I see a lot of men's button-down shirts. It's kind of like a balance of like, how do I utilize something that I really like to use? And then also there's a lot of availability for.
That's awesome. So is that where do you mainly source your materials at thrift stores, or how else do you find the textiles that you work with?
Well, I've collected them for about 7 years. In that process, because I was a full-time reseller, I was going all over the country to source my vintage. And in that process, I was getting other materials too. I just couldn't help myself. So I would just see something really interesting and beautiful and like a really good material. I had to pick it up. I do go to estate sales. I do go to church rummage sales. I go all over pretty much. I go very high and I go very low. In that process, though, I really learned a lot about our textile waste streams. And that's actually something that I'm like very committed to, is educating people about our textile waste streams. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize that they have a wishful donation mindset. Like, oh, what about these, onesies that have stains on them? Like, and they don't realize the burden they place when they misappropriate the materials to other
Yeah.
waste streams. So, actually, the more that I do it now, I'm finding that other people want to bring me their things, which is really
Cool.
interesting. I did a fiber festival in Detroit this past September, and a lot of the older ladies there who saw my vintage bomber jackets were like, oh, I know that you're going to take my unfinished projects and like do something good with them, or all my collections, because my kids don't like this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's turning into like another touch point.
So I love your shirt that you're wearing right now. It's got
Mhm.
Charlie Brown and Lucy. That's very cute. So when you see a textile, what is it about it that you're like, I need to get my hands on that?
It's actually, I would say it's like quite a big range of things. I'm a sucker for novelty prints, having
Yeah.
been somebody who was like into the 60s, 70s, and there were some great novelty prints in those eras. And just the prints alone, I find to be like very fascinating. So if it's a good all over print, sometimes I even like large scale prints to me are really interesting as well. Which is what I think I like about working with the tapestry blankets. When I have something really large, I'm super intentional about how I match my materials together. I'll even wait sometimes to get two similar tapestries to make this one coat style that I have.
Cool.
So it's not like random one-off situations. I do produce styles and then I produce them in a range of sizes. Sometimes I'll even match based off of themes as well. I like really obscure stuff. I like really like it's so ugly, it's beautiful kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you're just, something about it makes it kind of absurd, and I think people
Yeah.
recognize that. It's like a special little like secret sauce. I almost feel like I refer to in my mind of just seeing what vintage buyers have been attracted to over the years, and honestly, vintage buyers are always ahead of regular fashion, and I'd even say large main designers. I'm always finding my vintage buyers are buying ahead of way ahead of bigger designers. So that's actually interesting for me to still kind of track and follow and kind of notice that. That's kind of the beauty of handmade. With quilts, for instance, sometimes you'll see combinations that are just truly I wouldn't say grotesque, but kind of in some weird way. And then I think that's what actually attracts people to it, because it's so rare to see that in real life.
I was walking by a Gap the other day and it was all gray, black, and white, and it made me very sad. And then a couple stores down was just bold patterns, color. I mean, that brings me joy. And I'm sort of in a fight against neutrals right now. And I would love more people to just like embrace color and pattern. Like, how can people wear it and feel confident? And like, what is it about your stuff that gives people that confidence?
I think it gives them permission to be themselves, because ultimately our clothing is lacking meaning. And I think there's something human to wanting new things and also wanting to kind of be like everyone else. Singling ourselves out is actually something we're not supposed to do from like a just out of a purely survival mindset. I think when people recognize something that has a very strong pull for them, they just recognize it as a part of themselves that they've kind of been either like starving in a way, like that it unlocks something inside of them. It's very gratifying, because sometimes I'm like putting things together at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, like I hope somebody likes this,
Is
and
this
then
good?
you see it, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, because I had no idea who that person was, and to truly stand out and be who you are is like a gift, and sometimes we need permission to unlock that. So I think there's an emotional thing. And once that connection is there and if it feels good and it looks good, it seems easier to access that for people, to wear more color, to wear something that might be like a little bit outside of their norm. But I also just look at people when they're trying things on too. Like you can like see something on their face. It either the garment pulls them forward or it pulls
Mm,
them back. And sometimes, like, and that has to do with colors. Maybe it has to do with, even some of the, shapes on there. And what's amazing to me is that people instinctually know what actually makes them feel good. I want them to love it. And like, I think the ideal situation would be like, they keep loving it. And then they add something else that helps them feel like, you know, as good as the other thing. And then also exploring other people who upcycle and then
yeah.
upcycling themselves. And actually I'm making some products right now with that in mind, to kind of help people have the baby steps in upcycling themselves, just
Oh,
very
neat.
simple things. So a lot of times people will tell me, oh, I tried, there's somebody on TikTok who does this. I tried doing it. It looked terrible. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you need baby steps, people. Like the way people edit all these things is to
Yeah.
I feel like does a disservice, because one, it makes it seem like it's so easy to do it. And actually there's a lot of materials that fight against each other in this, like under my sewing machine, right? So you don't see any of that. You just see these
Right.
quick cuts and you're like, oh, and then there you go. You have this thing. So I'm hoping to kind of unroll that, to kind of get people to, be part of a community, to be
Yeah.
upcycling, to be mending more, to kind of see it as a radical act of transformation that is really honestly like, anyone can do this. You have to just take time to do it. I'll have my tutorials and stuff online, but you can
Cool.
just look it up too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave people stranded. And then hopefully we can like share our little like creations and things like that. And it'll be really cool to see.
Well, thank you, Haley, for joining us today. It was really nice to learn a little bit more about your business. I'm excited to see all your wares in real life at the market on May 1st through 3rd. So, everyone, come meet Haley and shop from Haley, learn a little bit. You can grab your own kit to learn a little whip stitch, which everybody should know that, and sewing on a button for sure. So, thanks for being here, Haley. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Don't know why you wasting time. Just know what I do with mine.